Welcome to Untamed Social. I'm Rachel Strella, and I am the founder and CEO of Strella Social Media.
And I'm Lainey Goff. I am the EVP and TikTok specialist.
I'm Ella Gunnell, and I am the creative manager and Instagram expert.
I'm Jess Boozle. I am the Gen Z girl of the team, and I am the account manager.
And I'm Anna Dober, and I'm the graphic designer and video editor.
Today's topic is rage bait. So let's talk about it because some people have never even heard what that is.
Yeah, I feel like rage bait has really increased in popularity as far as getting more engagement, and we're seeing it more, but there's a lot of mistakes that people make with it. And they don't really utilize it as like a strategy for controversial opinions, but more of like, I'm just going to piss people off and get them in the comments. I think the biggest one right now is Matt and Abby. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm definitely the chronically online one. You don't even want to see my screen time. So for people not watching, rage bait is they don't care really what they're saying. They don't care the context. All they care is getting the views and getting people to comment, whether that's bad or good. And rage bait is purposefully bad. Like she said, Matt and Abby, they are huge right now. Matt mostly gets the heat while people feel bad for Abby. And they have a podcast together. They are married. I feel like they've been dating since they were young, like 16 or something. And so now they're married. I think they've been married for 2 or 3 years. They have a podcast together where they just talk about their marriage, basically use it for marriage counseling. And they take traditional roles in their marriage, which is fine. Do what you want in your marriage. But it definitely has come down to a point where they're sharing things where Matt is treating Abby very unfairly.
I have a quick question. When you say like marriage counseling, do you mean like they're trying to counsel other people, or they're using it as like an outlet to talk about their marriage?
Definitely an outlet for them.
Yeah, so okay, so like one example that I know that I saw was Matt was talking about his birthday and Father's Day, and remember that? And he was saying like that he didn't like how close together they were. Or was it his kid's birthday? What was it?
It was his birthday.
Okay, so like he wanted to have his own separate for both, which is kind of feminine in my opinion.
Well, and he was mad at Abby for not not making each one special for him, even though she had just had a baby. So like has a fresh newborn, and his birthday's the same day as Father's Day, and so he's kind of mad that they like got lumped into one. And so people are kind of like, you're being a little bit ridiculous, Matt, because your wife just had a baby, so you can't really expect that much for her. And it's not like she didn't do anything. I'm pretty sure she planned like a whole party for him, and he's still complaining.
It wasn't enough.
No.
So are we operating under the understanding that like they are doing this on purpose, or do we think that he is just kind of that kind of guy?
There's definitely speculation both ways. Like, I have seen people be like, I think that they felt that their account was struggling and needed more views, and so they're purposely like cutting the controversial segments of their podcast and putting them online. But it could be genuinely how he feels, but the fact that they're like keeping that and like only cutting those clips and like putting those podcast clips online, I think they kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah, I absolutely think they know what they're doing.
But like, is it working?
No, in my opinion, no, because it's ruining Matt's reputation.
Maybe, but like they have 5 million and some followers, TikTok. Like, and it's not just their podcast. They're getting all kinds of other clips, and I saw some yesterday where he had a scene of like her just having a complete meltdown. She was pregnant and she was upset, and like I'm just like, why is he filming that and putting that out there? So like they're obviously doing it for the dramatic, point of view. I do think it's working in that sense. Like, it's getting them the views. Is it the kind of views you'd want to get? I don't know, but it's working in that sense.
Yeah, and another thing to note is Matt has his own TikTok that is separate than the Matt and Abby account, but Abby does not have her own TikTok that is separate,
I did not know
and a
that.
lot of people take that as weird.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Yeah.
And in one of Matt's latest videos, he does like basically a come with me video to record or practice a new song, something like that. And a lot of people caught on to the fact that he was going to an apartment that is separate from his house and it is completely empty. So it seems as though he has a completely separate apartment as well, on top of
The,
everything that's been going on.
the plot
Plot
thickens.
thickens.
It's juicy. Oh my goodness. Well, that's definitely, like really high level rage bait because they're really taking their ground with it. And in fact, I feel like you have like one of two people who are rage baiters who it's a serious thing like Matt and Abby, or even more serious like Lily Addis, for example. She's really known for being like that traditional, and she said the N word on TikTok, and she stood her ground and was not willing to back down. And it's like, I don't think that these people who take that tactic understand that it will be great for a minute, and yeah, you're going to get a lot of eyes on you, but then that's going to die down, and then you're going to have nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially long term, if you're wanting a career as an influencer or a TikToker, like long term, you're gonna want to keep your reputation sparkly so that brands and people want to work with you, and no one's gonna want to touch you if you're doing stuff like that online. So short term, the views are gonna spike, but I think that's not great.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I
feel
agree.
like the whole empire building that the Kardashians did after their, like, we wouldn't call it rage bait when it happened because that term wasn't around, but
Right.
like now we kind of would. And I think people have in their heads that they can do something similar of be like, get me my 15 minutes. If it pisses a bunch of people off, it pisses a bunch of people off, but I can look what empire I can turn it into. And I don't think people understand that like that's a skill. Like that didn't happen to the Kardashians overnight. Like that was thought out and meticulously planned. It had
Yeah.
all this backing, and it's not lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place. Like it's not gonna happen like that again.
Right.
Like, you're not a Kardashian. But what I really love, I think the most is like those videos are really engaging. Yeah, sure. Like you want to know the tea, you want the gossip. But I also really love like the spin on it of rage bait for the people who just like out of pocket. Like not that it's like super controversial and lifestyle choices. I mean, kind of. There is like Christi Fritz, for example. Jess, I know you know more about her. Can you kind of explain like who Christi Fritz is and what type of rage bait she pushes out?
So I don't know Christy other than this one time that she tried to convince TikTok that she and her husband were deciding to go barefoot for the rest of their lives. Like instead of wearing shoes out in public, they decided they were going to go barefoot. They went so far as they were told in stores they have to wear shoes. So they got these like silicone feet things that basically come like your toes. They're not melted, but they like are compressed to your toes, so they feel like you're barefoot, but it's
Stop.
technically a shoe, so that they were still allowed to go into stores. And she did a few videos on this. So I don't know if that brought a lot of people to her channel and that's why she did it, but I have looked at her content recently and it's been normal. They have been wearing shoes, but I don't think they ever came out with a statement saying that it was a joke.
Ah.
So they're just like letting it fly.
Yeah, and
It's up for interpretation.
no one in the comments had commented like you're wearing shoes or anything questioning it. So it's like they got the followers because of the rage bait that they did, and then they just kind of didn't talk about it again, and it worked for them.
That's so
You know,
bizarre.
if I was her, just filter out the word shoes from your comments forevermore and just run with it.
Smart strategy.
Like by the way, like she's in Ohio, so it's freezing out, and they're walking around like barefoot, and she opens the door with her foot to go into the mall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, reading the comments on those videos is enough entertainment to keep me coming back for more. I will say that. Like, that was strategy, because the one person was like, I get, like, cool, you don't want to wear shoes, but to put your dirty foot on the door handle and open it is wild.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Yeah, and she said she did it to connect with nature, and everyone was like, the cement is not nature.
The mall floor is not nature.
Oh my god. I think I might just like buy all of us a pair of those footies. No, it is not into it. All
No
right.
need. We're good.
I didn't know what to call them, but they show your toes, but it's still technically a shoe because it's covering your toes.
Yeah, that's weird.
So
That's
interesting.
That's really funny. Yeah. So, see, like, rage bait like that, I could get down with. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Or, like, the jelly bean sweets girl who just, like, eats food. But where do people come up with this stuff? I don't understand. So, like, jelly bean sweets, who is she? Just give us more.
She is huge right now. She does mukbangs, and just a lot of people are intrigued by her because no one really knows if she's doing it for rage bait or if she actually just like enjoys eating a crap ton, which do what you wish. That's okay if you do. But a lot of people have been noticing weight gain from, I think, at least a year or 2 years from her content videos. She has gradually gained weight, obviously, from what she's doing. So people aren't really sure if it's a bit or not. But she's known for getting Raising Cane's, like really big cups of their Raising Cane sauce, and then drinking it. She's known for just drinking the sauce.
Goo.
I did not see that. Oh.
Yeah.
That to me is like, there's probably no way she actually does that. It probably just makes for like a good thumbnail. And so people
Yeah.
want to keep watching what she's doing. Because mukbangs are not a new thing. They've been around for forever, and they garner a lot of attention online, like already. So then to just add in like a bizarre element like that is something that will just like give it that little extra boost and get people talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And someone had noticed that she does clip her videos, like, or jump cut. After a few bites, she'll take three really big bites, kind of without swallowing, and then you'll see her chewing 3 big bites, and then it cuts. I will say we have seen her drink the cup, though. Not the entire cup, but we've seen her drink out of the cup. So she's
But, like,
definitely
is it
drinking.
worth it? I just feel like it's not worth it. Like, not even the foot thing. Neither of those would be worth it to me. You can't pay me enough to walk around without shoes or to drink an entire sauce of Raising Cane's. Like, that's not going to happen.
What is the appeal? I just don't get it. Like, what? Why do people watch that?
It feels desperate.
Yeah. I just think it's like, it's in a way unique, so that's what gets people's attention.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard of anyone drinking a cup of Raisin Cane sauce. I've never heard of somebody using their feet to touch the traffic stopper or stop.
Stop. Did they do
What?
that?
They did it in a video. She put her foot up to, what is that called? The button that you touch?
The
Yeah.
crosswalk button.
Yeah,
The crosswalk flasher.
Yeah, she like stuck her foot up. Like, you could have used your hand at that point.
I mean, like, I've done that with my foot that had a shoe on it.
Oh,
But,
okay.
like, never the bare toes.
I was like, wait.
What if I just confess right now? I was like,
Yeah,
guys, it
that's
was
like-
me.
I've done that.
Oh my god.
Well, and also the internet is just like an a voyeuristic place in general. Like, you could just do the weirdest thing you think of. And even if, like, to the majority of people, it isn't appealing, just due to that sort of voyeuristic nature of specifically TikTok, because I feel like there's less restrictions
Yeah.
sometimes than like Instagram Reels. You post something a little weird on Instagram Reels, and they take down your whole page. Like,
Yeah.
whereas TikTok, I feel like there's a little bit more leniency.
Oh
The
yeah,
other thing too
absolutely.
is that when people the other thing too is that when people post that kind of content, I I'm not saying that like I would recommend this strategy because I don't know, it's just bizarre, but it does make you go to their page to like be like, are these people serious? Like, is this
Yeah.
something that they're doing over and over again?
Yeah.
Like the feet girl, you're like, is this something that she actually does? So you go to her page and watch more of her videos to try to figure out like if this is something that she actually does or if it's just this one video or maybe it's just like a weird series that she's doing. It sounds like she doesn't really do it anymore, but we all went to her page and checked her out to see if she was still doing it, which anything that can get people to your page and binging your content, I mean, that's going to do a lot for your social media.
Right.
But like, are they following? That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
no,
the thing.
no judgment if anybody's done that. But like, I'm not gonna be like, I would love to see this on my FYP every day. And
Yeah,
just
More of
wait.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I did not
think
follow any of these people. None of them.
I think using the feet tactic is good for some people.
Yeah.
She might
Depending
not
on
be
where
getting
you
the
want to go.
followers. Yeah,
Yeah.
she might not be getting the followers she wants.
But the followers she has,
They just want more feet.
You know, yeah, straight to feet finder.
for
I
free.
mean, there's a lot of money to be made there. You know, that it could be strategic.
Someone that I think used it so well and was successful with rage bait was Kayla Malec. I don't know if you guys have heard of her, but
Yep.
she kind of got famous for like doing videos about her dad yelling at her and stuff. And then through TikTok, she become more famous, got more money, finally moved out of her dad's house. And then it kind of moved on to she's not very good at makeup. To me, what was weird is she used to be good at makeup and then it kind of tumbled to when she moved out. She was no longer good at makeup and she was known for like doing streaks of brown for contour on her face, doing really bad freckles, and specifically like silver in her, what do you call those
Inner
eyes?
Inner
corner.
corner.
Inner corners, like really bright silver highlight. So a lot of influencers like James Charles and um, I can't remember who else, helped her out and was doing her makeup for her. It turned into a complete series. And that got her a lot of followers. Everyone loved to see the different makeup styles people did on her. And I think she did that successfully.
Yeah, and she still does like the freckles and stuff, right?
Unfortunately, she does. That's a weird thing that a lot of people notice is that all these influencers have come to help her out. And to this day, her videos and her makeup still sort of looks the same. So I think that is just continuing it. But she did have that run of like having multiple really high-end influencers, makeup artists help her. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just really cool to watch.
The thing that I think makes it successful for her is because it kind of like fits her brand. Like if you watch any of her videos, she's kind of just like chaotic and like all over the place. And so because like the makeup kind of fits into that, I feel like the followers that it's converting are followers that are going to stick around because that's just like kind of part of who she is and that's part of her brand versus someone like the barefoot lady where it just seemed kind of out of left field and it doesn't really seem like her, so it's not going to maybe convert
Yeah.
in the same way. But I feel like this is very on brand for her. And so the people that are seeing it are like, they are going to resonate with the rest of her content and not just these chaotic makeup videos.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good point. I personally thought she just seemed very angry. It was really hard to watch the video that I did, so I was like, I can't even watch the rest of this. That might be other people's brands, but like, it wasn't for me. It wasn't my flavor.
Yeah, she's very chaotic. And a lot of her videos are like, get ready with me, wow, I talk about this, and like usually her stories are very chaotic, but it's like the makeup that brings it to it, because you'll see in all the comments like Kayla the eyebrows, Kayla the lashes. Like they're always talking about her makeup in the comments,
Hmm.
but she's getting the views, she's getting the followers, so I think it's working.
It's also a recognizability thing. Like, I remember seeing the James Charles video and getting to the end and, like, kind of not even recognizing her. And if that face came on my For You page, I'd be like, random person. Whereas, like, if I saw the freckles, I'd be like, and also, like, her name, like, when you just said her name right now, I did not know who to bring to mind until you mentioned the freckles. And I was like, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. I feel like a lot
That's
of people don't know her
interesting.
name.
Yeah, that's really interesting too. And what's really crazy about rage bait is that I feel like being social media managers and like consulting with people on strategy, and maybe this is like a good question for Ella, but what do you feel like if a business or a brand comes to us and they're like, okay, we really want to like boost engagement, we know controversy is a way to do that. What do you feel like is the best advice to give a business or a brand to stay in that lane and to not cross over to rage bait?
Oh my gosh. Well, first and foremost, you don't want to tarnish your brand's reputation, right? So, like, definitely staying clear of some of the things that these influencers are doing. That one lady we talked about, I think Lily,
Yeah.
obviously staying away from stuff like that. And then I think the other thing is just making sure that it's true to your brand, because you want the followers that you're getting to stay with you and stay with your content and not just be getting them because of something controversial that you're talking about, and then they kind of fall off after you go back to like your normal content and promoting your brand. So I think if you can find a way to do that that is true to your brand, like in tone and in line with your industry, and something that I think too, the key is not just having it be something that's negative, because people are all going to kind of rally against you and
Hmm.
just not like you, versus if you do something that's controversial, people are going to argue with each other in the comments. And so you want to strike that healthy balance of like, is this just negative and everyone's going to have a bad reaction to it? Or do people have varying opinions on this and they're going to duke it out in the comments? Because that I think is something that um, could be very beneficial, and something that you could I don't know what the word is. You can kind of encourage conversation and be part of the conversation with people in your comments.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think like I agree with it being like maybe not so much of a negative thing, but also just like swaying people's opinions because you're educating them is really huge. So like I always think of like a
Mm-hmm.
hairstylist. If I were to come across an Instagram reel or a TikTok video or short of a hairstylist who's like, a bob isn't for everyone, and this is why. And because like bobs are really in right now, and so if it like highlights for me features that I have, like if she says if you have an oval face, that bob's not going to be for you. You don't have enough strong enough jawline. She's going to sway my opinion completely, and that's controversial because everybody's like, I want a bob for summer. So I feel like that's like the healthy side of it.
Mm-hmm. Versus her just being like cutting a really bad bob or totally knocking a certain style.
Yeah, like literally
The
her just chopping somebody.
Because
Right.
I
She's
have
like,
seen that
see?
before.
I'm sure.
Those videos where they kind of like start off really bad and you're like, what is going to happen? And then by the end, they like fix it. But they
Yeah.
totally start off and you're like, oh no, this is going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Well, it definitely puts the bait in rage bait versus like, have you guys heard the term of like rage farming? I feel like the distinction between the two is pretty like important. Like we could maybe argue that Matt and Abby are doing something more like rage farming, where it's like the rest of their content may not have a lot of value. They're literally just pulling at
Mm.
what's going to make people angry. Whereas like maybe Nara Smith, I don't even know if you would call that rage bait, but it's putting the bait in it. She says something kind of outlandish and confusing, but her content has so much other value that you like stick around and you stay with it and you engage it. And every time she's going to get comments that are like, you did not make this for breakfast. This took you 8 hours. But that's fine because it's not tarnishing her image like we were talking about. It's not putting any kind of spin on her or her beliefs. She's not even really sharing what she's thinking. She's just kind of adding this edge to it that hooks you in to be like, what are you talking about? And then she has value elsewhere.
Yeah, it's the hook, right? Like one piece of content you can put out and it would do bad, but if you put out that same piece of content and have it have that really great hook that kind of like reels people in and maybe like sparks that controversy a little bit, that content's going to perform a lot better. Even though it's the same content and both can be on brand and true to you, if you just add in that little twist, that's going to do a lot more for you.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. I always think about too, like people who have more of like a comedic side of things, like for my own personal TikTok, I always try to like everything is a joke. But if somebody comes across one of my videos and they've never seen any of my content, and I'm talking about my kid's teacher, or I'm talking about not liking watching my daughter do gymnastics because she's terrible at it. Like, I'm not saying that to be a crappy human or a crappy mom. I'm trying to be funny and say something relatable because every mom's actually thinking it. And that leads to hate, straight, immediate. It is, people think that I'm rage baiting them, but I'm not. I'm just trying to be funny. I don't mean it. It's not like I'm being serious. So there's like a fine line on that side of things too.
That relatability is so important. I know, Lainey, you coached me a little bit even when I talked about plastic surgery that I had, you know, where I wasn't trying to be like rage baity, but I was just being authentic about my experience, you know, and I think that people could sense that. Well, I did get some haters, of course. Like overall, it's just the authenticity is so important, you know, that just that human piece of it. It's real life. Yeah. It's relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, like, no matter what you post online, it's gonna get hate. And that doesn't really mean that it's rage bait. That's just kind of the name of the game. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough out there. Okay, so let's play a game. Let's play rate the bait where we rate the type of content on like 1 being that it's acceptable and 10 being that it's completely unacceptable. We enjoy it, we don't enjoy it, okay? So 1 for acceptable, 10 not acceptable. So let's start with Matt and Abby, since that was like a big part of our discussion. What do we think?
I'm going to give it a 6 for the fact that it's not that bad. Like, really, their opinions and what they're saying aren't that harmful. And it mostly just has to reflect on Matt not being a great person. But even then, you get some people that agree with him, and they're like, yeah, you shouldn't have had your birthday and Father's Day on the same day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'd go 6 too. I think that, like, is it the type of content that I want to see? No, but also, like, I'm not really interested in their content in general. So I feel like my opinion doesn't matter.
Honestly, everything that I've learned has been against my will. I've never, like, searched them. I've only ever, like, saw clips of their podcast. Like, I've never searched their name in TikTok and, like, looked for their videos.
Yeah.
I'll go with a 4 because I think they know what they're doing and they're doing it together. But it's not as bad as other things I've seen. Like when I started thinking about rating and I'm looking at other people's, I actually changed some of my numbers, you know, after looking at, because I realized like there are a lot worse people than them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm gonna go 5 with them. Just because like what they're doing is not inherently like terrible. They're kind of just living their lives, it seems, and maybe saying stuff that's a little like edgy and people might not agree with. But overall, it's definitely not the worst. And like they have been all over the place recently. Like Jess said, everything I know about them has been against my will. I don't follow either of them, but I know way too much about their lives. And I feel like you have to give them some credit for that, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel pretty similar to Ella at a 5 because it's like it's not hurting anyone, like themselves or others. It's not like objectively weird like the feet Like, it's just sort of in between. It's like, I would never watch this. I would never take interest in this, bait or not. I wouldn't take it. So, down the line, 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're pretty much all on the same page there. Okay, so let's switch gears and go to something different. Let's go to Jelly Bean Sweets, the girl who's just chugging raisin canes sauce.
I want to go with like a 2. I really didn't see anything wrong there. And plus, you talked about cats. So I'm all about cat people.
We love it.
I'm going to go with a 5 because I think that it kind of slowly is harming her by eating all of this junk food. And although it makes for good content and it is promoting like eat what you want, love yourself the way you are, I feel like down the line, if she continues with the mukbangs and if she does actually swallow every single thing she's intaking, that's going to be really bad for her health. So I'll give it a 5 for that, but I do think it's entertaining and I don't think it's harming anyone else.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it. There's been a lot of mukbangers, and unfortunately that's just kind of the name of the game where that's definitely content that's going to garner a lot of views and get you a lot of followers. But as a social media manager, I'm a fan of sustainable strategies. And so it's not just a knock on her. Every mukbanger, it just kind of feels like maybe what you're doing is not super sustainable. So for that, I'll give it a 5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going 4. I feel like the same thing. Like, how long can you go on with this, you know? And like also, I don't really enjoy the idea of watching somebody chug Raisin Cane sauce. Like that just, no.
I was gonna go maybe a little bit lower of like a 6 because like mukbangs are what they are and we can debate their existence as well, but also I feel like at the end of the line, you can't really tell what that means for someone's health just by like seeing their TikToks. And so like you can't really judge like, oh, is this going to be sustainable? Is it not? Because we have no idea if she's eating it or not. I would just put it lower because it's like not necessarily garnering positive attention.
Yeah.
Like no one's sitting there being like, that's so impressive that you can like take down that kind of food. Because like that is genuinely an impressive feat to me. I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
But like that's not the attention it's getting. And so I don't necessarily see it bringing any kind of like viewers to your page that you really want around.
Girl,
Yeah.
did you mean a 6 or a 4? Because you kept saying I went lower, but 10 is the highest. And we were all saying 5, so you went higher than us.
I thought 10 was least acceptable and 1 was most acceptable.
Correct. 1 most acceptable, 10.
I've been doing it backwards.
You did mid-range
You're the
the whole
problem.
time, though.
And I thought Anna was doing it wrong. I was doing it wrong.
Okay, so I think I said it wrong too. So wait, 1 being acceptable is what I have here. 10 being unacceptable. So
Yes, like 10
Oh,
is
right,
extreme. Yeah, 10 being
Okay,
extreme.
all right,
Like
there
if
we
you're looking at a scale.
we can
Wait,
do basic
extremely-
math. All right. Okay.
Extremely unacceptable?
We are smart. Yeah, like if you're thinking of a scale and like 10 being like, that's crazy, that's wild.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think they should be doing that. And 1 being like, okay, we're cool with it, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes sense. But
And
Jess, the
Anna's
good news
still
is,
higher.
Then I'm still confused by Anna because you said 6 and the rest of us didn't.
So like it's less acceptable
Okay.
because it's 6
Oh.
as opposed
I see
to
what you
5.
were trying to say. Okay.
Like go
So you were
backwards.
saying lesser. Okay. You should verbiage. Okay. Okay.
we should have thought this out better. Okay,
Next time.
now that we're really clear on the scale, okay, 10 being extreme, you shouldn't be doing it. 1, cool. The feet girl, I'm giving her a 1. For the entertainment factor alone, I'm giving her a 1. I love it. The comments are, and I could sit there and read those all day long. Not that she's entertaining, but the people talking about her are really entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with you there. I would just give her 1 point lower, a 2, just because of that piece. Like, that's not really part of her brand. It seems like she just kind of did that and then stopped doing it. So I feel like maybe she gained followers from that, but they're probably not gonna stick around long term. So I'm fine with it. It's funny. It's cool. It got her the attention she wanted. But again, I'm all about the long term strategy. And so I'm gonna dock it a point for that.
I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
2 or 3 because, like, play ball. Like, do whatever you want with your feet. But she did have to subject other people to it. And for that, you get a few points knocked down.
It's the
Someone had to touch that door handle after her.
Oh,
Someone
true.
had to do that. So you get docked a point in my book.
Like, what if she stepped in a pile of dog poo and then was like, "No, open the door"?
It's a public health concern.
I'm gonna give her 2 because I find it funny, but also I don't truly believe that they didn't have shoes on. I believe that they definitely filmed with their shoes off, like they filmed all of that, but there's probably shoes sitting right behind the camera person.
You're probably right. You're probably right for sure.
I'm gonna go with a 4. It's definitely bizarre, and they got attention. Like, trust me, when I read those comments too, I didn't even notice the door opening till I read the comments. Like, I glossed right past that. So I'm gonna go 4.
I love it. So we apparently like Christi Fritz.
It was funny.
Love
It
me
was
some
funny.
feet content.
Ella's on Feet Finders. Looking for.
I'm on Feet Talk.
Stella's stamp of approval on foot talk. That's horrible.
Ella was the last one of us that I would pick to be there. Okay, last one. Kayla, is it Malec? Is that how you say her last name?
I believe Malec.
Malec. Okay. What are we giving her?
Like a duck. I give her a 1 because I think it worked out really well for her. I think she got to meet a lot of really cool makeup artists and influencers throughout the process. She got to go to a bunch of different places because they would fly her places and hang out with her. She made a lot of different connections in her industry, and I just think she did it really well. And she's keeping the people there by continuing to do her bad makeup.
Yep. I agree. 1. Love that for her. No notes.
No notes. Yeah, a 1. Keep up the freckles. The freckles did it for me, honestly. When I saw those go on, I was like, oh, okay, we're going that approach. So, I mean, do your thing, girl.
I would go lower than a 1 again. Like, maybe it's just because I don't like vibe with her personality. But a lot of the ones that I see of her are like, I don't even know if you would call it rage bait, but of her being like, oh, being told I was ugly like this many times, and then like the comments flooding, being like, who would say that to you? And I just like don't know if the internet is a space that needs that anymore. And so I'm like, okay, skip.
I'm gonna go with a 5 because I don't know. She knows what she's doing to get attention. It's obviously working. She's continuing to do it, but it's like it's not my flavor. Like, I'm not. She looked very angry, and like the whole thing was just like scary.
Rachel hates her.
It caught up on the anger. Rachel's watching it like,
I was scared. I was like, man, I don't want to ever see this woman like in real life. She might hurt me.
It's literal rage bait.
Literal. I love it. Well, that was fun.
Well, this has been a really, really great topic. So I hope everybody's enjoying it, and thank you, guys, for being here today. And thanks to everybody for tuning into, the Untamed Social Podcast, and expect a lot more from us. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.